Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the world, universe, creatures, and many things that may or may not be out there to before and after Thought Podcast with your host, truly as always, Krazy K. And yes, this is on time for the podcast for the week. Everything you need to know and want to know because it is a slash double video commentary slash reaction with Cream KZK over this past Monday Night Raw as well. So everything you want to know will be involved. Analyzations, opinions, thoughts, all that good stuff. Needs, wants, the podcast for this week, commentary slash reaction for this past Might Not Raw this week. All be added, as you can see on the screen right there, to Cream KZK page with every video that I've ever done added on that playlist if you want to watch and check out this podcast where I recap and many more videos like it, or just not only the podcast is, if you're interested in podcasts, talk shows, not only interviews like personal life, not only Raw and SmackDown predictions or results of the wrestling fan. There's also updates like holidays, football, things like that. As a sports fan, there's also freestyle and rapping videos on there. There's entertainment, funny videos. So yeah, entertaining videos, funny, all the topics, music, informational, wrestling, sports in general, all added on Green Kids K page playlist, as you can see right there. Every video that I've ever done, I like to keep it up to date, and I always update them and hold them in this playlist right here. Just everything is all in order. As you can see, there's the predictions, and then the commentary result of SmackDown successful. There was the predictions commentary result of last month. I rather predictions commentary result both around SmackDown, my last podcast where I recap, and after Raw and SmackDown went out there, and then obviously the pay-per-views in SummerSlam. And I just posted and updated this Monday Night Raw video from this last week up there, so you can check out on the Korean Kids K page to check out this podcast and more like it. And also commentary reacting to, because it also has updations and informational stuff on there as well, but also entertaining. You can also check out my Korean Kids K story playlist as well, which has those freestyles I was talking about, those Raw and SmackDown predictions, and the stories I was talking about. That this will all be for new subscribers on my page, returning subscribers on my story, and then obviously for all the above and more, my Korean Kids K before and after Thought podcast, along with the other ones playlist. And WWE Comics by Korean Kids K, with this commentary slash reaction to Monday Night Raw. Sometimes I do Raw, sometimes I do SmackDown, sometimes I do NXT, AEW, sometimes I do all the above pay-per-views. This one is strictly over this past week's Raw. That'll be added to that playlist. So there is the podcast playlist before and after thoughts with Korean Kids K. Page for new subscribers, story for returning subscribers podcast, and obviously the commentary reaction with Korean K, which is this one. And then the WWE Comics, if you want to watch like this past Monday Night Raw video, that'll be added to that. It's already been added, but I can re-add it and update it. And there's also the game playlist with SummerSlam 1 and 2, even some legendary. I did some more SummerSlam matches that's added on this game playlist, and I also did switched it up a little bit. Some of the matches, most of them are the same, but I did some more SummerSlam matches added to this playlist for all your gamers, as well as people who are interested in talk shows or entertaining or information or whatever the situation might be, all added into those playlists as such. So, with that being said, we're gonna jump right into it. Before we head into the actual informational part, those are the updations for the podcast, like we do, so you're aware where to find the videos. There's some information, obviously, what these videos for new subscribers who may not know, or new people who are watching, new viewers who may not know what's up. Now you do. And obviously, return viewers for new and returning subscribers. All the information you need to know and want to know, as promised. Because I'm a woman of my word. So, with that being said, we're going to jump right over here in this column. If you haven't already, be sure to watch, like, follow, subscribe on Instagram and YouTube, TikTok, add me on Snapchat. There they are. Write it down, screenshot it, take a picture of it, videotape it. Follow me on that Instagram to be involved in the shout outs, whether you like the comment or just made a comment yourself to be involved in the shout outs and the videos. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you never miss another podcast or raw commentary with Krazy K. And subscribe on TikTok. There's also rapping and freestyle and dancing, talk about music and entertainment videos on there. Playing videos, add me on that Snapchat. If you want to be a fan or just have a conversation or, say what up though. Everything you need to know on all that stuff in that column, as you can see. So, there's all you need to know as far as, if you haven't already, be sure to watch, like, follow, subscribe on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and add me on Snapchat. Really would be appreciated, and so you don't miss another video. And if you haven't already, do so. If you have, give yourself a round of applause, and I think you'd appreciate that. You guys already know what's up and what's going on, and you guys already know how these videos go. So you already knew before I talked for the last 7 minutes. For the people that may not know. If you don't know, now you know. How about that for you? So, with that being said, let's jump into the commentary / reaction from this past Monday Night Raw, including a slash because this is a double before and after that podcast with Krazy K. So last week, and actually this was like a couple days ago too. As I said, we're doing this podcast on time for this week. We're doing this commentary reaction on time. The podcast for Wednesday, which is today this week, on time. The commentary reaction, because it's a double video, which would pick up Tuesday, like after Raw already happened, and the updation of Raw the night that it happened. And me agree with the fan. Shout out to you guys that already put it into the videos, added even afterwards. And on top of that, I also added some updations. So, with all that being said, that was just icing on the cake. And something to talk with the photos, with the videos, with the updations, anything and everything and all that stuff. During these videos, I like to add a little bit of everything. So that's what we did. So this past Monday Night Raw, we had the opening of Monday Night Raw with our world champion, Paul Heyman, who is a Hall of Famer and our manager of what I've been calling the Final Destination, but they call themselves otherwise. Big Bryson Reed and Braun Baker. You got the legacy and the family of Braun Baker. 2-time NXT champion, 2-time Intercontinental champion, 3rd generation of his uncle and his father. Future Hall of Famer, legendary, badass. Barking with the dogs every single Monday Night Raw as a Steiner. And then this generation into this world on Monday Night Raw. Perfect position for him to work with our world champion, Seth freaking Rollins. And On the other side, you got that on the right side. Let's talk about the left side. You got Big Bryson Reed, a dominator, a tsunami destroyer. Just taking one look at him, he could dominate you with his eyes, let alone destroy you with tsunamis that he's done to many men in the past and many people in the past. Now stirring up something with the OTC Roman Reigns, one of the hottest stars still to run SmackDown with or without a championship belt. And then you got Seth freaking Rollins, which I think is the greatest world champion of all time because he's literally fought every single Raw, every single SmackDown, every single WWE Live, every single house show that we had. He has fought, defended that title, whether he was tired, whether he was worn out, whether he had broken bones, literally a broken back, holding that title, holding the company down, wearing it down, and he's been doing that for over a decade. So he damn well earned and deserved to be a world heavyweight champion again. So I think our world champion Seth Rollins is the greatest world champion of all time. Definitely been holding it down for a decade. And WWE, just this business and this company in general. And I think him and Roman Reigns going back and forth, with Roman being the OTC running SmackDown as the alpha man over there, and then you got Seth as our world champion, the alpha man, holding Raw down. It's been that way since the Shield broke up, and they still dominate the Raw and SmackDown today. So with that being said, and also with Braun Baker and Jey Uso, talk about their family, the bloodline since the beginning of wrestling, Hall of Famers, legendaries, champions, tag team champions, all the above. I think that's the best family that has been in the WWE. The fact that they just keep coming and being able to rule and dominate, and what they say, they do exactly what they said they're going to do. So I think the bloodline is my favorite family and the WWE. So with Jey Uso protecting his family and his own, winning that Extreme Rules match in the main event, but Braun Baker also protecting his own family and his own career as well. That was a banger main event. Jey Uso picking up the win, but also Braun Baker has a lot in the company as well, as he showed up and showed out. And Roman Reigns and Seth, that's just icing on the cake, seeing them going back and forth between Raw and SmackDown, who the alpha man is, who runs what. They've been doing that since the Shield broke up, and they're still getting to do that today. And then there's Bryson Reed, waiting for the next victim to be victimized with a tsunami. You got LA Knight on SmackDown, Sami Zayn on Raw. Now it's been switched around. Now we got Sami Zayn helping Big Jim and Jacob Fatu with what they're calling the MTV. I still call them the Bloodline, on soloing them on SmackDown. And now you got LA Knight on Monday Night Raw, who could go against people like Bryson Reed to even up the odds. Obviously CM Punk for World Championship opportunity after what happened last week and knocked to the table accidentally. LA Knight, as much as respect as him and CM Punk say they have for each other, they've been arguing about this title, even though they said they helped each other out. Now LA Knight gets knocked through a table, and even if it was an accident, LA Knight already warned him, hey, you got in my title match, you knocked me through a table, you've been getting in my interviews and in my face, and he told him to back off in the interview. They worked together after that match. But now I think it's thinning. As far as that respect and not putting hands on each other, it's thinning now. So now it looks like we might have CM Punk versus LA Knight, and whoever wins gets the World Championship opportunity against Roman Reigns. Meanwhile, Jey Uso defeated Braun Baker, and Bryson Reed's looking for the next person, I guess, to victimize for a pair of sneakers. Didn't get the OTC. Not this time. So, with that being said, I think Paul Heyman, a Hall of Famer and a legendary for over 40 years. I think it's been over 40 years, yeah. That he's been in this company through, WFC, ECW, Raw, SmackDown. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a legendary. He carries his company well, whether you like what he says or not. He is dominating with people like Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and many more. And he knows all about the greats. He mentioned RVD. Talk about ECW is what that brought my mind when he mentioned RVD and the Hardy Boys. He's talking about high flying. He's talking about the tag team division. So I think that Paul Heyman is a genius, and with him being the manager of these great superstars that we like and that we love and been watching them, someone that knows them personally and also knows what he's getting himself into, because not only does he know the wrestler, he also knows the company. He also knows what the people wants and needs, despite him if he's a heel turn or a babyface. Paul Heyman knows how to get in your skin and under it, because he knows you personally to hit that nerve, to hit those buttons. So with him knowing you personally, including the people that you surround yourself with, that's family or friends, on a personal level, that's why Paul Heyman is so good at being the manager that he is, because he hits you with a little bit of truth as far as him knowing you, and that's what bothers you, but also getting a little bit, you're like, maybe he's right in what he's saying because he knows me. It's not just bull crap coming out of his mouth, because most of them are facts. He knew CM Punk would be in the main event. He knew Roman Reigns would be the alpha man of SmackDown. He knew Seth Rollins would be Mr. Money in the Bank again, calling himself a world heavyweight champion. And everybody's still singing to this day, as they did this past Raw, with Seth Rollins, because that's how good of an athlete Seth Rollins is. So Paul Heyman knows what he's talking about. Definitely a Hall of Famer legendary manager for a reason. And Seth Rollins definitely showed why he's the most dominating world champion in the men's division that we had. So in that, I think they're doing a perfect job as a team. I've been calling them the Final Destination because they have been dominating. They've been on top of their game as individuals, let alone this unstoppable team, getting the better best of people, getting in their heads, getting championships on the line, getting matches on the line. You had that Extreme Rules match. Now everybody's looking at that. Now you got LA Knight and CM Punk fighting each other. So CM Punk, as he accidentally knocks LA Knight through that table, LA Knight obviously isn't going to take that too lightly. So while CM Punk and LA Knight, they're going to be fighting each other, and Seth Rollins is going to be sitting back watching them tear each other up, as he's World Heavyweight Champion, doesn't have to get his hands dirty at all. So that's where he's the king of the masterminds. He's the king of mind games. And that's Seth Rollins, because that's one thing he doesn't do is lie. He does hit you with true ceremony. When he gets on that microphone, he does hit you with facts and says nothing but the truth that already happened, or with facts that soon, like he said, ends up happening. So when he gets on that microphone, you may not like what he's going to say, but he's telling you like it is. He's speaking the truth and the facts. He's right about everything that he said or everything that he's going to do and does it. So that's one thing he doesn't do is lie when he gets on that microphone, as far as when he does like segments and stuff like that. He knows what he's saying, he knows what he's doing, and that's why he's so good at mind games, because the truth hurts. Truth does hurt. So that is, I think their team is dominant. I think they're good, and I think they have more. But I think it's definitely going to build up to CM Punk versus LA Knight, and whoever wins gets Seth Rollins for the World Championship opportunity. And as far as Jay and Roman, they got Bryson Reed and Braun Baker right where they want them. So moving on from that, talk about World Championship, talk about opportunities. How about the women's division? Naomi announces what I've been saying for the last week. It's been a long time coming. Finally gets to have a little Simone of her own. And not only is she a part of that big family, but also now another member added to the bloodline. Talk about how the bloodline still continues. Talk about the dominant family, how it's still going to continue. So, with that said, I think Naomi earned it and she deserves it. On one side, I'm happy for her because it's been a long time coming. Her going through all the stupid challenges, now getting respected as a woman superstar instead of a diva, now finally getting the chance. You deserve it. Instead of working so hard, getting pushed over by the next pretty face, now getting a championship opportunity that she helped build, become from a butterfly to a world championship belt, and still keeping the streak for the women's division to be respected more as a wrestler and as a superstar, where you actually get to do a match longer than your entrance is, and with everybody looking down on you, talk about professional wrestling. I like how she gets on that microphone, not letting anybody, not the company, not the people, not anybody, ever keep her from being silent and speaking her mind on that microphone, how she gets to express how she feels. And finally gets to open up all that closed mouth, all the, closed mouth never get fed, just keep getting shoved down. She finally gets to express how she feels on that microphone and people respect her for being herself. She finally gets to be on top with the world championship, something that she helped build. And she's continuing to make history with as the most money in the bank and as a veteran. Like with Rhea and Io, that was an incredible match. Why women deserve to be a main event at SummerSlam as well as the men. Now there's two parts as well as the men at WrestleMania too. She proved that. So I'm happy for Naomi. I'm glad for Naomi. I think that she could do what Becky Lynch did. Go have your baby. Be with your spouse. Be with your family. Be with your baby. Spend time with your friends. Get some time for yourself. Come back, worked out, train better than ever. Take your world championship against the hottest star, just like Becky Lynch did, as if the beat has not stopped and has not skipped. And everybody's going to be proceeding with caution while Naomi gets back on top. So I think Naomi has nothing to worry about. I think right now they should have Stephanie Vicaire, who won the Battle Royal, Io Sky, who was promised the match, and Rhea Ripley, who keeps getting screwed, have a triple threat at Clash of Paris for the World Championship belt in the meantime until Naomi gets back. And she could do exactly what Becky Lynch did, beat the high star and get back on top, look better than ever, and on top of her game. Not letting anybody take her down again. And speaking of Becky Lynch, our Intercontinental Women's Champion, keeps continuing to defend as an Intercontinental Champion, as the GOATs of the women's division that helped build it from the ground up, continue to be a fighting champion, Intercontinental Champion over Natalya, and even getting the Hall of Famer legendary like Nikki Bella involved, who apparently looks like she got next for that title. So now we got a Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella for the Intercontinental Championship belt, maybe be announced at Clash of Champion. And also maybe we'll have that triple threat for the World Championship belt, and then Io and Rhea could have a tag team against the Kabuya Warriors and Raquel and Roxanne, and possibly get a tag team championship opportunity for the women's tag team division. I love tag team, and that sounds pretty good to me because Rhea's been the one that has Io's back. Rhea's been the one that's helped her not only get a championship opportunity, but also helped her when it becomes a brawl fight or a match or just sticking up or giving her respect. That is one woman that she hesitates when she gets in the ring with. That is one woman she gives respect every time she's in the exclusive interviews. And that is one woman that she helps out when she gets in brawl fights or anything like that, or getting mugged like she did last week on Raw. That could be your worries. You could get mad at Rhea for getting involved, but who you think's been having Io's back while you guys were injured, while you guys wasn't here? Rhea Ripley. Who you think's been getting those championship and pay-per-views opportunities with Io Sky? Rhea Ripley. Who you think been holding it down for Io because you guys weren't here? Rhea Ripley. And last week y'all didn't show up out there. She wins the match, and Rhea helps her because she obviously needed it when the match was over from not getting mugged. So Rhea Ripley is best to help her as a partner, and I think it's going to stir up the Kabuya Warriors versus Rhea and Io and a tag team. You got Raquel and Roxanne first. Rhea Ripley thinks going to win this match against Roxanne, and obviously Io return the favor if Raquel gets involved. I think the Kabuya Warriors are then gonna want to verse them in a tag team afterwards and maybe build up to a tag team championship opportunity. And maybe Rhea could call herself not only defeating Io as women's world champion in the triple threat, but call herself a double champion as one half of the tag team women's champion as well. Not only would she be a double champion, but she'd be holding the world championship and the tag team titles again. And she beat Io Sky, and she got to be world champion again for 3 times, and tag team champs on Raw and SmackDown, which means she'll be defending both brands. Plus, she gets to call herself a double champion. So, I think that'll be good for Rhea until Naomi gets back to take her spot back. And what better than Rhea, a most dominated, hottest star, to knock off for the title? So, that'd be a good plan too for the women's title, tag team division, and obviously when Naomi comes back. And obviously what's going on with these other matches. And then that would bring us to the New Day. Penta knocks off Bryson Ryder last week, knocks off Xavier Woods this week. Next man to knock off Kofi Kingston in singles action. Sheamus and Rusev can't even look at each other straight, keep brawling and beating the hell out of each other. I think they should just do a last man standing match and get it done and over with between those two. So it looks like we're looking at a lot of things. Sheamus and Rusev, last man standing match. Penta and Kofi Kingston in singles action. Rhea already has Roxanne. Obviously, Io and her building some kind of tag team, it seems like. The computer where he's looking over their shoulders. World Championship opportunity, triple threat. And, Intercontinental Champion between Nikki and Becky Lynch. And then that's what it seems like is happening going on here. And obviously, the OTC and Roman already got Bryson Reed and Brown Baker in check. So it looks like Seth could sit in the back and watch LA Knight and CM Punk go after each other, because obviously LA Knight's not going to be happy about getting knocked through the table last week. He's going to feel like it's his fault for getting involved again, even though it involved both of them. So that's what I feel is going to happen between those two. And whoever wins gets a world championship opportunity. That's how I see it. That's how you break that down. And as far as the Lucha Underground being involved, talk about Raw and SmackDown going over to NXT being involved in Raw and SmackDown. Now you got Lucha Underground with Mexico City this past weekend being involved in a tag team action on Monday Night Raw. Got Dirty Dom, our World Intercontinental Champion. You got our Raw Tag Team Champs like the Judgment Day. Continue while the Judgment Day is the most dominant team right now on Monday Night Raw. But the Luchas bring in the high-flying classic legacy that we want to see more of on Monday Night Raw. Talk about good tag teams and great tag teams in general. I love tag team matches because anything is possible in the WWE. Never say never in the WWE, but anything can happen, especially in a tag team match. So I like it. I'm rolling with it. And that's why I see it happening with these situations in these matches and how I broke it down. So with that being said, that is my Raw commentary over this past Monday Night Raw. What happened, my Raw reaction, what I think is going to happen in future Raws. Closer to Clash of Paris, my podcast and updations, everything you need to know, want to know, and more has been officialized. Additional information as well. Be sure to check out, if you guys haven't already, thank you guys for watching, liking, tuning in, commenting, following, subscribing, and adding me on Snapchat and on Instagram. But if you haven't already, do so. Inviting you so you don't skip a beat and you don't miss a single thing. Blink once and you're going to miss something. Okay? So thank you guys who already been doing that. A round of applause, another round of applause for you guys. Really appreciate that. Building up this channel together so we can finally get enough views and get some merchandise. Obviously is what I want to do. So, those of you who haven't though, be sure to watch, like, follow, subscribe on Instagram, YouTube. Add me on Snapchat. You can take a picture of these social media platforms. See, this is what the commentary shoutouts look like to Instagram. You get shoutouts like you just saw someone's account there. You guys take a picture. You guys can write it down. You guys take a photo shot, Snapchat it, write it down, videotape it. Subscribe on YouTube. Check out more podcasts. Follow me on Instagram to get those shoutouts. Add me on TikTok, see those dancing and those rapping videos, entertaining, and obviously add me on Snapchat if you want to, just be friends or chat or say what up or whatever the case might be. So that's available too to do so as well. And you also can check out more videos like it. This podcast commentary reaction will be added along with every single video that I've ever done with Korean KK page playlist right there. That will be added to for new subscribers, and then for returning subscribers it's available to everybody, but I just like saying new subscribers because you may not know what Korean KK is all about, and that's why I made that page. And then Korean KK story, those of you who already know what's up and what's going on, who's been here a time or two, who already knows Korean KK story, for return subscribers. And this, much like the rest, before and after thought podcast playlist to watch more like it, which this will be added to it as well. Right now, as we speak, updating it. Interviews on the personal life, podcast shows, and obviously pages door for predictions and commentaries on other sports. Obviously, the thing rap dancing outside of it, talk about music when you're rapping, talk about entertainment when you're dancing, talk about the sports when I do my predictions or post a show, and talk about the workout training videos I have, or the entertaining or funny videos, or when I put family, friends, or just myself updating it, or just shout to you as a fan. All available, and also be added to commentary / reaction with Korean KZK, because that's what these videos are all about, to build up the ads so you can see it on commercials, to build up merchandise, to be able to sell. TWA comments, which the past Monday Night Raw from this last week is added, much like my other Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-view videos. And there's my game playlist. That's SummerSlam. I did more SummerSlam matches on that playlist right there for gamers. Let alone interviews on personal life outside of it. And short story books, that's just icing on the cake. So with that being said, there's your updations for the podcast. There's the results for the Raw commentary, and there's the place to find the podcast and more commentaries and other interesting things, gameplay. Thank you guys for watching, tuning in. Korean KK out. Peace.